Harvesting cotton was labor-intensive, and in order to keep the gins fed in the sparsely populated South, farmers would require an enormous new workforce, as Stephen F. Austin quickly learned. Stephen Austin, and his father before him, had seen the explosive growth of cotton across the South. They were confident that they could build a colony based upon it. In 1821, Austin had called for farmers who would plant cotton and mechanics who would build gins to join him in Texas. Among those that answered the call was Jared Ellison Gross. In 1821, Gross heard Austin's call, and that same year he packed his family and belongings on 50 wagons and set out for Texas. Gross also brought 90 slaves to the new colony. While slavery offended the morality of the Mexican government and raised concerns for Austin, they did not stop the peculiar institution from gaining a foothold in Texas. As soon as he arrived in Texas, Gross planted his first cotton crop, and it was immediately clear that Austin's vision would be realized. The upland cotton that was grown across the South and had been seen by Cabeza de Vaca grew in the colony like nowhere else. While the best farms along the Mississippi River could expect to get 1,000 pounds of cotton per acre, Austin's land was nearly 3 times as productive. The success of the colony's crops made the need for gins immediately apparent. By 1825, Gross had erected the first gin in the colony. By 1828, Austin's colony had at least 5 gins, and more had been built in East Texas. Austin's success quickly drew more Anglos into the state, and the colonial presence quickly expanded west along the road to San Antonio. Texas's independence and subsequent statehood had only increased this expansion. When Spain had called for colonists to move to Texas, her population, excluding Native Americans, was fewer than 3,000 people. By 1835, there were more than 35,000 people, and this number would double in the next 5 years. By 1850, there were more than 210,000 people in the state. The planters brought with them their way of life from the Old South. They brought household goods and began building plantation homes. Like the Texas settlements to the east, life on the Cibolo Creek would be built on the foundation of cotton. The planters also brought their most valued assets, their slaves. By 1860, there were as many slaves as white settlers living along the banks of the Cibolo. Cotton production had exploded across the southern United States following the adoption of the cotton gin, and the rapid expansion of slavery had closely followed. When Whitney had introduced his creation, there were fewer than 700,000 slaves in the United States. In fewer than 70 years, that number would increase to 4 million. Cotton had become the undisputed king across the southern United States, and Texas had a growing share of that kingdom.